Me, just like many other woodworkers, have a lot of different kind of scraps piled up somewhere in the workshop. So, on this week's video, we will see if we could make some Christmas decoration from these. I've done this type of decorations a couple of years ago already, but I haven't made a video on these, so I thought that this time I could show everyone what I made, so if you have similar scraps in your workshop, you could then maybe use them in the same way. First, I needed to add 2 boards on each side of the longer board, so I could have a wider base than the one board is alone, because this will be shaped as a tree, and then we will add some decorations to these. Now I'm just roughly marking down the shape of the tree, so I know where to do the rough cuts on each board before I could do the glue up. And even though this is a small glue up, I will still go and do the jointing on the edges and using the in and out method to make sure that I can get as flat of a panel that I can do. This is just to ensure that even if the edge is not dead on at 90 degrees, then when you glue them up together, they mirror each other and the panel should be quite flat. And once I had all the boards run through the jointer, it was time to do the glue up. I had 3 separate glue ups that I did because I'm making few of these at a time because it makes the process a bit quicker. After the glue up had dried overnight, it was time to take the clamps off and first cut off the excess from the sides so I could fit these into the planer. As I didn't plane down the boards when I started the project, and all of the boards are scraps from different projects, so the thickness of the boards varies a bit, so I have to run this down through the planer to get the panel to be flat. Then, once the panels were planed down, it was time to start cutting the shape out of these. I just drew down a triangle that looks like a tree, and then again used the circular saw to cut the shape out. You could use a jigsaw, a table saw, a bandsaw, or whatever kind of saw you want, but for me the easiest way was just to do it with a circular saw, because it doesn't matter if the cut hits the line right on the spot, it doesn't matter with this build. And I guess it's nice every now and then to use some simpler tools that most of the people have, because on many of the videos on YouTube you see projects where there are a lot of expensive tools that most of, like me, don't have, and then on the video someone says that you could use something else to do the work, but no one ever shows you how you could do it with some simpler tools. So at least here I'm putting the money where my mouth is. Or is it something else since it showcased that I don't have the money to buy the more expensive tools? Well, I don't know. Then once I had the triangle shape cut, it was time to do some sanding before we will cut some holes onto the trees so we have a place to hang the ornaments from. There's multiple ways again to cut the holes. On some of the first ones that I did, I just used a jigsaw and cut as close to the line that I could, and then used the rasp to fine tune the holes so that the edges were clean. But later on I bought a hole saw, which is quite inexpensive tool to get, and with the hole saw making the holes is much more easier, and you don't have that much sanding you need to do, because sanding down these cuts is really annoying by hand. And just to lay out where I want to cut the holes, I use the Rubio monocoat can, because that's about the same size as my hole saw blade, so that made a good reference on how it would look like when I have the holes cut. And if you would were to use a jigsaw, then using some sort of template to mark down where you want to cut the lines would be good. And as I mentioned, sanding down these edges by hand is really annoying. But I happened to pick up this oscillating sander a couple of months ago, and it's perfect for these kinds of things. Sanding down odd shapes, round shapes, small objects. So it really saved me a lot of hand sanding. And once all the holes were sanded down, it was time to cut some bases for these, because without a base, these don't really stand up by themselves that nicely. So just putting down a stop block on the crosscut sled, and then from the same offcuts cutting down a few of these pieces to be used as the base. And even though the bases are quite simple, just to add some refinements to them, I will add a round over to the top side edge. And while I'm doing that, I think this is a good spot to remind you that if you are enjoying the video, please leave it a like, it helps it to spread out to more people. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to the channel as well. I know that it's been pretty quiet on the channel for the past couple of months, but I've been juggling between a couple of projects because I couldn't finish a project for ourselves, and then I have some custom work that I needed to build for clients that I'm still working on. But I will be making a few more videos by the end of the year or at the beginning of next year once I'm wrapping up these projects. And as you saw earlier and now on the background, I've made some new tool purchases, and I'm having kind of somewhat of a final setup in my shop now. So I thought that it might be interesting to showcase you how I've set up my shop, because it is relatively small place. I know that many people have smaller shops, but this is not an industrial big shop, so it would be maybe interesting to some of you to see how I've set up mine. So that's something that I'm also looking forward to make somewhere at the beginning of next year. Then, after adding the maker's mark and applying the finish, I had a couple of more things to do with these. First of all, I needed to attach the bases to the trees. For that, I'm just going with the easy solution and doing it with screws. And as I mentioned earlier, there will be some ornaments attached to the holes that we got, so we need to attach some small hooks on those so we can have the ornaments hanging in there. As the space is quite tight, I'm using this miniature drill to drill some pilot holes and then just putting the hooks in by hand. And just to have more finished look on these, I'm attaching these felt feet to the base. Then the only thing missing is attaching the ornaments, and I can tell you that tying down these ornaments with the string was maybe the most annoying part of the project. But here you have it, a simple project to make from some cut-offs that are laying down in the shop. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.